Today we will review just a little bit of the last stuff and we will learn something new involving adjectives and description of a city or a state. Okay, let's start with this little review. So I want you here to say that you are not these people. So let me remind you how we did it. We basically start with nie jestem, which means I am not. Nie jestem uczniem. Nie jestem uczennicą. Nie jestem studentem. Nie jestem studentką. Nie jestem Amerykaninem. Nie jestem Amerykanką. Nie jestem Polakiem. Nie jestem Polką. Now I want you to do it. I will point to the sentence. We'll wait a few seconds so you say it. And then I will say the sentence by myself just so you can make sure that you said the right thing. If you didn't, go back and try again. Okay, let's start. Nie jestem uczniem. Nie jestem uczennicą. Nie jestem studentem. Nie jestem studentką. Nie jestem Amerykaninem. Nie jestem Amerykanką. Nie jestem Polakiem. Nie jestem Polką. Okay, dobrze. Let's move on. Let's also review how we say pracuję and studiuję. Pracuję, I work, studiuję, I study. It would also mean the same if we want to say I am working or I am studying. Because it's in Polish we have just one form. So, pracuję i studiuję, tylko studiuję, nie pracuję, pracuję, nie studiuję. Now repeat the one that corresponds to the phrase that I am pointing to. So for example, if I point to B in Polish, and say pracuję or tylko studiuję, you will repeat tylko studiuję. Let's try. Nie studiuję, nie pracuję. You should have said nie pracuję. Pracuję, studiuję. Nie studiuję, nie pracuję. Tylko pracuję, tylko studiuję. Studiuję i pracuję, or pracuję i studiuję. Okay, great. Now say it on your own. You should have said pracuję i studiuję. You should have said tylko studiuję. Nie pracuję. Pracuję. Nie studiuję. Dobrze. Let's move on to something new. To jest stan. Stan Wisconsin. To jest kraj. Ten kraj nazywa się Polska. Okay? So stan is a state. Kraj is a country. This is how these words look like. Kraj to jest Polska. Stan, na przykład, for example, Wisconsin. Now, we will learn to describe this kraj or stan. Okay? So, we will describe them with different adjectives. And here you have pictures with some adjectives, referring to some adjectives, and letters below that I want you also to read when I will ask you for that. So just so I can make sure you know how to pronounce these letters, this is R. In Polish we roll our R's, but whatever you can say is fine. A, I, J, z. Okay, good. Now, I will say the adjective that corresponds to the picture. And try to guess what it means, then I will make sure you know what saying it in English. Duży. Duży. Duży means large or big. Średni. Średni. Średni means medium. Mały. Mały means small. Ładny. Ładny is pretty, or it can be also nice. That's one word in Polish. Ładny. Niezbyt ładny. Niezbyt ładny, it's like not so pretty. It's a delicate way to say that something is not very nice. Niezbyt ładny. And if we cannot cover it up, then it will be brzydki. Brzydki means ugly. So, let me repeat. Duży, średni, mały, ładny, niezbyt ładny, brzydki. Okay, now I want you to point to the picture that I referred to, saying the Polish word. Duży, średni, mały, ładny, niezbyt ładny, brzydki. Ładny, mały, średni, duży, niezbyt ładny, brzydki, duży, mały, średni, niezbyt ładny. Dobrze. Now I want you to say the actual letter. So, if I say, for example, duży, you will say r, because this means duży. If I say średni, you will say a. If I say mały, you will say i. If I say brzydki, you will say j. If I say niezbyt ładny, you will say h. If I say ładny, you will say z. Let's try. Średni. Mały. Brzydki. Niezbyt ładny. Ładny. Duży. Ładny. Niezbyt ładny. Brzydki. Średni. Duży. Mały. Ok, dobrze. Teraz, now, I want you to repeat the correct word as it refers to the picture. So, if I point to duży, I will say duży, mały. You will repeat duży. Średni, mały. You should have said średni. Mały, średni. Ładny, brzydki. Brzydki, niezbyt ładny. Ładny, niezbyt ładny. Średni, duży. Duży, brzydki. Brzydki, ładny. Niezbyt ładny, ładny. Ładny, mały. Mały, średni. Średni, duży. Dobrze. Now I want you to say these words on your own. Okay, if you need more practice, please go back and practice it again. Now I will show you how these words look like. So to jest średni. Średni. Mały. Mały. Brzydki. Brzydki. And remember, RZ we read like ż. D, such a strong voiced letter like D, in the middle of the word, especially next to k, that it's very delicate, voiceless, will lose the voice, right? So that's why not putting any unnecessary, any hard emphasis here, we will just say brzydki. So the D actually sounds like T. Try to say it easy. It's hard to say that English speakers can say it easy in Polish, but don't put more emphasis than it is necessary, okay? I don't know if it helps, but maybe a little bit. Ładny. Here we can hear the D, although the N takes it over, so it's not that strong either. Ładny. Duży. Remember that the Z with a dot is just exactly the same sound like RZ. Okay? Duży. Niezbyt ładny. Niezbyt is like not so much. Not very much. Okay, let's try. I want you to point to the word that I am saying. Duży. Mały. Średni. Ładny. Niezbyt ładny. Brzydki. Okay, let's move on. Here we have some more adjectives. Okay, we need many of them for describing a town or state or a country. So listen how I call the adjectives here. Okay, brudny, and that's dirty. Czysty, clean. Nowy, stary, old. And remember that stary is a very offensive word in Polish. You cannot say about somebody that it's stary unless you mean it really, really bad. So for example, we cannot say that, oh, my grandma is old. We cannot say that because it will be very not nice unless we really hate our grandma or something. And then I guess it would be appropriate. But be careful with that word. Interesujący. That means interesting, as you probably guessed. And the opposite of it, nudny, boring. Okay, let me do it one more time. Brudny, czysty. Nowy, stary. Interesujący, nudny. Okay, now I want you to point to the pictures, to the picture corresponding to the word that I am saying. Brudny, czysty, nowy, stary, interesujący, nudny, czysty, brudny, stary, interesujący, nudny, interesujący, nowy, nudny, nowy, brudny, interesujący, czysty, stary, nudny. Dobrze. Now I want you basically do the same, but instead of pointing, you will say the letter corresponding to the picture. And just so you remember how to say these letters, but say them the best you can. This is B, just simple B. I, like in my name, I. C, this is like TS, right? C. G. Sh. O. I don't know if you can see it, but it has the little tail, right? So it's on. Okay. B, I, C, G, sh, on. Okay. The best you can do. Brudny. Czysty. Nowy. Interesujący. Nudny. Stary. brudny, nudny, stary, czysty, interesujący, nowy, czysty, nudny, interesujący. Dobrze. Now I want you to repeat the right word. Okay? So, I will point to the picture and we'll say two words. And you will repeat the correct one. Czysty, brudny. You should have said czysty. Brudny, czysty. Nowy, stary. Stary, nowy. Interesujący, nudny. Interesujący, nudny. Nowy, nudny. Nudny, brudny. Brudny, nudny. Stary, czysty. Stary, czysty. Interesujący, stary. Interesujący, nudny. Czysty, brudny. Dobrze. Now I want you to say these words on your own. You should have said brudny. Czysty. Nowy. Stary. Interesujący. Nudny. Dobrze. And this is how we write, how we spell these words. Brudny, it was dirty, right? Nudny, very similar word, right? This is boring. Nowy, czysty, so CZ, we read like ch. Interesujący and stary. Okay, now I want you to read the words that I am saying. Czysty. Interesujący. Stary. Nowy. Brudny. Nudny. And now I want you to read them as I point to the pictures, or say them. You should have said nowy. Okay, dobrze. Now look at the endings of these words. They are all ended with I. This is actually a masculine ending, okay, for adjectives, because adjectives get different endings than the nouns. So the nouns, maybe you remember, are ended usually in consonants, except of tata or kolega, right? Those are exceptions. But when we want to describe tata, kolega, or dziadek, or anything that is masculine, which is the case with kraj or stan, because they are ended in a consonant. Those are masculine words, right? When we want to describe them, we will use adjectives ended in y. And this is also the dictionary form, so if you check in the dictionary, you will always find the adjective with the y at the end, okay? Because this is also the basic form. And if we want to use it for female or for something else, we will have to change it, and I will show you how in the next lesson. So let's look at this one. Usually we have y, right? Ładny, this is just like adverb, so it doesn't count. Duży, ładny, mały, right? Średni and brzydki are actually exceptions, but I is like the same family of letters that y. Okay, so sometimes Not very often, but in this case we have those two very important words. We will end it with I, but nothing else than that. Okay, so just try to remember that. Okay, dobrze. That's it for today. Do widzenia.